Hey beautiful, here I am again, and today I actually want to follow up from my last post about ego, attachment and how we define ourselves. Did you actually get time to check out Wayne Dyer's book, The Shift, or his film version of the same name? What did you think? And by the way, I know this might sound like a bit of a sales pitch, but actually it's not. I just think it's actually so incredibly awesome that I just want to make sure as many of you out there know about it as possible, because personally I've gained an enormous amount from it, and so I always think it's worth sharing, you know, all these good stuff. So anyway, getting back to that, I've actually taken a hard, long look around my life, and I've been checking in with myself. I've been checking into my heart center, and you know, what material things am I attached to, and how do they or don't define me. And I've never actually considered myself a materialistic person at all, so I've always felt deep in my core that I'm pretty good at letting go. You know, I mean, after all, I actually have a history of letting go. I left my life in New Zealand after 24 years. I sold everything and I came to Australia with absolutely nothing but the clothes on my back and a very small suitcase. Well, it was a rucksack actually. And I began a new life. I then did it again 3 years later and travelled for 12 months. I went up to far north Queensland, and then I went through all of Asia, Southeast Asia, and then after returning to Oz, and then another 3 years after that, I left it all behind again to go and live in the UK, Israel, and quite a few places in between. So then, like, I was kind of based in London, and then I left my life behind in London to rebuild a new one in Australia. So as you can see, I'm pretty good at it. And so, you know, it shouldn't be a big deal, but this time actually it is actually feeling a little harder, because I've now been in Brisbane, Australia for 19 years, and it's the longest, and I mean seriously the longest I have lived anywhere. I mean, 19 years. Can you believe it? Well, I sure as hell can't, because my history is a lot of moving around, so that's huge. And this year, 2013, is going to be full of huge change for me. And part of that is rebuilding my life again, reinventing myself again, and actually doing it someplace else, in another country, in another culture. So you know what this means. It means everything that I have accumulated over the past 21 years, which isn't actually an enormous amount because I'm actually not a hoarder, but at the same time, it's still a lot. I mean, that's a big chunk of time that I've actually lived in Brisbane, 19 years. And I could put it all in storage, but really, you know, I think there comes a time when you know that you just got to let it go. So, and I know the reality is the last 19 years in Brisbane is going to come down to a few boxes. And I'm actually okay with that. But the interesting thing that turned up was that I've gone through everything in my house, and I've sort of begun the letting go process now, because I don't kind of want it to hit me when I'm ready to leave. So I'm just trying to make things a little easier for myself, because when it becomes final and real, and then it's like, holy crap, what am I doing? But in the course of doing that, wow, there was a couple of things that I actually realised I was super attached to. And, but I actually had no idea that I was until I kind of went through this little process of letting go, you know, because I've been blessing and letting it go and setting the intention, basically. I just had to take a pause then. Clearly, there's, you know, there's still some things obviously going on for me there. Anyway, so getting back to what I was saying, when I realised that I was super attached to these things, I mean, I suddenly felt really ill and in great despair. And at first I actually didn't know what was wrong. I was like, what the? But anyway, what I ended up doing was I literally gave over to it and let God, or whatever you want to call it. And that's when Dr. Wayne Dyer's words from his book, The Shift, came back to me. He actually talks in here. I think it's about the, I don't know, the Dao De Ching or something. I'm not very good at pronouncing it. But he basically said, he talks about, once you leave attachment to things, then the door will open. And it was actually in this moment when I heard those words that I realised how attached I'd become to something that I truly believed I'd never do. And that could have something to do with the fact that, you know, I've never really lived anywhere too long. So I've never kind of, don't get me wrong, I've always been grateful and I've enjoyed my things around me, and I like nice things around me, and I love nice homes and nice things. And even if I'm living in, you know, a donga because I'm living this crazy life up in far north Queensland or whatever I'm doing, I always make it home, you know. I add different touches to it, so everywhere I go I sort of like put my little mark on it to where I have this comfort zone, but I guess I've never really stayed anywhere long enough to become so imprinted, except for that very first time in New Zealand, of course, because that's where I was raised and had my education and all the rest. So that may have been part of it, but it's, wow, what a process, hey? It's like, and I'm still processing it. I've got more to process, but I am actually feeling much lighter about it. I know that I've still got more letting to go, and trust me, it stirs some really uncomfortable things in the body and in my heart, and in my soul. But I also know that when I finally release it, I do believe the door will open, and it might be a similar feeling to coming home. I don't know. I'll let you know when it happens. So anyway, they're just some questions I wanted to, well, no, they're not questions. They're things that I wanted to share with you. But the questions I do want to ask you is, how are you with letting go? If you had to leave your life as you know it now, and you had to leave it tomorrow, could you actually walk away without having a meltdown? Are you attached to certain things in your life? I don't know. Can you go around your home and actually ask the question of everything you own, and actually imagine, like in your heart, of actually letting it go? Imagine this is the last time you will ever see it. And how does it feel? I'd really love to hear your comments, as always. Please share in the comments below. We're all on this journey together, and I certainly don't have all the answers, But I do like sharing them with you because as they show up in my life, I'm sure they are showing up in yours, or have already shown up in yours, or at some point are going to show up. So I guess the question I'm asking you is, if and when they do, are you ready? Can you do it? Can you walk away if you had to? I personally think, going through my own little process here, that it's worthwhile actually really checking in to see how you feel and how attached to things are you. Because, and you know, you might be able to relate to more about what I'm saying once you've read Dr. Wayne Dyer's book, or seen his film, or if you know anything about kind of what I'm talking about, you know, just in the sense of ego, defying ego, how we define ourselves, attachments to things, all those kinds of things, because yeah, they're all things, and we can all intellectualize it and say, yeah, well, they're only things, yeah, sure. But I actually want you to really go around your home and really imagine, like immerse yourself in it and say, okay, this is the last time I'm going to see you. How does it feel? I'd really be keen to hear your thoughts. And of course, if you like this post, please share it with a friend, Facebook, Twitter. And if you aren't already on the love list, please sign up in the box below. You'll not only receive all the posts as I do them, but when I actually send out a newsletter, you will receive some extra content that actually won't appear on the blog. So, and having said that, I'm due to write you a newsletter, and that's the other thing. You won't be getting too many of those. I'll just be doing them when I feel called to do them, but in the meantime, still sign up, because then every little blog post, you'll get it in your little inbox. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. And I really do look forward to hearing your thoughts on all this. Okay, bye.
And my dreams have always been my flaws, and maybe our mistakes have been my fault. But fuck you, man, I never stopped you from moving on. And the cold-hearted friend I've become is not.
Hi, it's Michelle at Calm with Scales, and yes, I'm back again already. It's just that since I did the last recording, which was a few hours ago, yesterday, I've sort of like processed a little bit more, and so I just want to share two things with you before I close off on this video completely. And the first one that I wanted to share was when I was thinking about my attachment to this certain thing that sort of like created a great amount of distress that I had to work through. What I've kind of processed since then is my attachment wasn't so much to the thing per se. I realized it was more about the emotional connection of what that thing represented. So I just wanted to sort of like include that extra little revelation of mine, from my perspective anyway. So when I asked you earlier to go around and imagine yourself letting go of everything in your house, and how do you feel? Like how do you feel in terms of attachment? And which I guess that's my second point, is I'm also aware that this could be a very, very difficult process for you to do, because really the reality is, unless you've really kind of come to a point to where you know you are absolutely letting go, for whatever reason, whether it's a new direction in life, or you're moving home, or you want to start again for whatever reason, I think I've realized that until you're actually faced with it, like in dead set reality, it's maybe not a true exercise, or it's not a true experience for you. I still think it is worth doing it and seeing what comes up for you and seeing how you feel. And I you know, and I'm always a big one of decluttering anyway. Decluttering is a great thing, and the kind of rule that I kind of live by is, if, I mean, short of something having extreme sentimental value, really, if you haven't worn that outfit for 12 months, or you haven't used those bed sheets, or you don't use that teapot in the last 12 months, then you don't need it. So I've kind of always lived by that kind of motto anyway, and I would encourage you to do the same, because that is a really good way of decluttering. And as we let those things go, that teapot, those cups or mugs that just have been sitting in the cupboard for, you know, years, once you let those things go, then you do allow new things to come into your life. I mean, you see this time and time again. That's the beautiful thing about letting go, because as you let things go, new things come in. But I guess what I was posing before, that question I was posing before, was much larger, much bigger. I was talking about leaving everything behind and starting again. You know, God forbid that a natural disaster would make that happen to you, because it kind of feels like it's forced on you rather than you making a choice. Like I'm making a choice. I'm making a choice to leave Australia and start a new life somewhere else. So that is different. I actually do have time to process this. So I have time to go through everything and let go of everything. But so that I am aware that that's a difficult question that I'm asking you, and you may not get a true answer. A good way to start is decluttering. Go through your wardrobe, go through your kitchen, go through basically everything in your home and say, okay, have I used that in the last 12 months? And if you haven't, seriously, ditch it, because you will be amazed at what comes into your life once you start doing things like that. And just with my other little, you know, reaction to this thing, there was definitely lots of emotional connections to that thing. So that, I think, is what was giving it power, in the sense of my attachment to it, which I am still processing and feeling lighter each day. And I know that when it comes time to let go, which is very soon, it'll be good. It'll be great. There may be tears, but it will be good. Okay, I just needed to add that on. I felt that it wasn't quite complete since I kind of came up with these thoughts today. I just wanted to share them with you, and as always, love your comments. Thank you so much for bearing with me and listening to this video. If you made it to the end, I thank you from my heart. You are beautiful, and I'll see you in the next vlog or the next video. Okay, bye.